Friends, family, fans, welcome back. Episode 84, the Nasty Nine. We've got ourselves the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, brought to you by AT&T, and this show is brought to you by rotoballer.com. Use code MANIAC for 10% off. Get all our premium stuff for your everyday golfing needs right now. Very affordable, very good, off the top rope. Let's rock and roll. It's the Pebble Beach Pro Amateur. We've got a signature event. We've got 80 golfers. We have got good golfers. Good golfers this week. We are feeling a little sentimental today. We've got the Maniac wig on. Maybe this is my full hair I grew out overnight. Got the nice OG shirt. Got the green lights rocking. It's going to be a fun freaking show. We've got the Nasty Nine going on today. So if that kind of gives you any indication of where we're going with the show, that's where we're going. So yes, it's going to be a fun one. I really appreciate all of you that have been watching the research stream. That thing's popping like crazy, popping like popcorn, baby. And it's been fun to have you guys really support that. I think I'll be doing that every Sunday night now at 10 Eastern, 9 o'clock my time. And we kind of roll through all the guys we're going to be speaking about tonight. So in that, we kind of spoke about what we're expecting this week. I'll just summarize it real quick. It's going to be good wedge players. It's going to be good putters on POA. We got easy scoring conditions this week. So really looking into guys that can make tons of birdies, because the first 3 rounds of golf are looking rather promising. Weather-wise, looks very scoreable. The golf course is very soft. Pebble Beach doesn't typically play this soft. I think we've seen what can happen on a golf course that's very, very soft. We've seen guys go low around Torrey Pines until it started drying out. So when we get to courses that have had lots of rain around them or on them, these guys can just throw darts. You know, the ball doesn't bounce around as much. They can do what they need to, and particularly guys that can control their spin into these greens that are kind of slopey to accept these balls that come in from various proximities. But mainly, the most important ones, we want guys that can hit wedges tight wedge play, 100 to 150. Those are the guys we're looking for, and we want guys that can sink putts from 5 to 15 feet on POA greens. Those are the 3 massive ingredients that create the Powerpuff Girls or the Nasty Nine in this instance, and that's where we're going to be looking to play our players this week at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am event. We're going to kind of set our model here by our upside rank. And while we're doing that, we're also going to make sure that we get our safety rank involved too. Let's dive into it. We've got 9 golfers we have to speak about today. So I'm going to start off with them, and then we can dive back and go back into some DFS plays towards the end of the show. I also have some sentimental stuff I want to share with you guys at the end of the show. Got some really cool, exciting news today about some very awesome awards for the FSWA. So I want to chat about that at the end of the show, kind of share my thoughts on that. Before we do, though, let's find some winners and I'm actually going to change things up here. 2 seconds. Need to speak about last week. Need to speak about the week before, because this is a betting show. This is back 9 bets. We want to be accountable. We want to make people better bettors. We want to make you learn, make you profitable, make the world a better place financially and entertainment-wise. Last week, I do a signature article at Rotoballer called Breaking 100, where I bet $100 worth of money, spread them out through outrights, placements, matchups, and a farewell fiver. Every single freaking bet last week lost. We never hit an outright. All of our placements lost, our matchup lost, and our farewell fiver lost. It was terrible. The problem was we had multiple golfers finish 1 shot away from cashing. So it wasn't like we were terribly bad. We were just off. Just a little bit of variance on either side of everything. We were 1 shot away from Joseph Bramlett cashing a top 20 at plus 750. Instead, he finished T25, and we miss out on all of that. Luke List went backwards. So it was just brutal. I just wanted to put that out there. We're going to bounce back. This is why you bet in units. You don't go crazy. You know, $100 in theory is very manageable to have lost. So we can probably lose that another 100 times if that were the case. That's typically how you want your bankroll to be. You want Or, sorry, not another 100 times, another 10 times. We can use a complete 100 because $100 means it's 10 units, basically. So you got to be able to lose 100 units and win on that 101st one. That's what your bankroll needs to be in order to be a successful bettor long term. You can't now, because you don't have any more funds, reduce the amount you're betting, and then you don't run out. You don't capitalize on when you get the bounce back. You're going to hit the upswing and miss out on that. So you got to keep betting the same amounts and go from there. Now, that being said, let's dive into some golf betting outrights for the week. We are also not placing a single bet in the placement or matchup market this week. I know it's back 9 bets, but the best bets are sometimes the ones you don't place. And this week, with the weather, I feel comfortable betting the first three days. So maybe we'll bet some first round things once they show up. But I am not in the mood to deal with a Sunday that has 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts out there. I don't know what my golfers are going to be playing. I don't know if they're going to be caught on the wrong side of a wave edge. I have no idea. I just don't want to double down a week after we've just got swept and deal with that shit. So we're kind of going easy on the outrights only this week. Maybe we do a few first round things to just have some fun, but won't be spending too much money in that market either. First up, I had my eye on Justin Thomas. I really like his option, so we'll be coming back to him a little bit later. But we're kind of scrolling all the way down the board here to our first golfer called Nicolai Hojgaard. He finished second last week at the Farmers Insurance. If that cheating Frenchman didn't step all over his grass in front of the ball, making his cabbage patch into a perfect launching pad, he may not have hit his approach shot on the 18th hole as close as he did to make the birdie putt. So Nicolai could have well won that tournament or been in a playoff one way or another. He wasn't. He finished second. That's okay. We get very solid odds on Nicolai. I found a 50-1 for Nicky Minaj Hogwa out on FanDuel, I believe, or Bet Rivers earlier in the week. If you are looking to get the best odds as I put the bets out there, jump into the Rotoballer Discord. That's where I pop them like almost as I place them, just to make sure that the guys get the best odds that do follow the bets along, because these numbers plummeted over the course of the week. But when you're looking at this guy, over the last 24 rounds, he's 6th in the field. He's never played here before, but he's 6th in the field in strokes gained approach. He's 5th in the field in ball striking. We're not going to necessarily need that much of off the tee numbers going into the week because these fairways are wide. They pretty much positional golf course where you just got to hit it to one spot and then go from there. You can't necessarily overpower this golf course. You got to just dink your shots down there with 4 irons, hybrids, 3-woods, drivers, whatever you got to do to get it to spot A. Then from spot A, you kind of go across the board. My favorite part about Nicolai is the fact that he's 4th in the field in strokes gained. 4th in the field in good shot rate from 100 to 150, meaning when he's 100 to 150 yards away from the flag, he hits it to within 6 feet. Only less than 3 other people in the field. He is incredibly good at knocking it close. Knocks it close. That's what we're looking for. Boom, boom. Get those wedges nice and tight. Capitalize on those putts, and off we go. That's kind of what we're looking for. He's been putting pretty darn well on the PGA Tour, and his power putting is better than what his other metrics are. So we don't really have too much power metrics for him. He didn't play much power type events over the last little while. But if you take a look at how many birdies and bogeys he makes a lot of birdies, typical compared to his bogey rates. He also does well on the par 5s. We're going to have 4 of those each and every day, and typically plays nicely in round 4 too, because we want guys that can really, in round 4, deal some damage. And he did not back down. He finished second at the Farmers. He was almost in the mix. And something that I really am concerned about for Nicolai from a long-term perspective is how bad his lag putting is. From far away, the guy struggles immensely. But these are some of the smallest greens on the PGA Tour. I think Nicolai is going to be completely fine. He's going to be within range of makeable putts the majority of the time. If not, he can sink those mid-range putts. He was doing clutch stuff on the greens last week. So love Nicolai at 50-1. Love him from a DFS play at $8,100. I think he's going to be a superstar on this tour, and he's a great wedge player. I did not realize that until diving into his numbers on Sunday night. So Look at those pink boxes there in the 100 to 150 range, looking very good. And then if you kind of scoot along, they get progressively worse the further away we go. That's okay. We want all the wedge play as much as we can get. 25% of shots come from those proximities. We're going to really, really key in on those. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Nikolai Højgaard, first person of the nasty 9 in the bag. Scooting on down the board. Next up is Tom Kim. Our boy, Thomas the Tank Engine. Our guy, who we've had pretty much 2 winners. We've been on 2 of his 3 wins. The third one, he was 11 to 1 at the Shriners, which we kind of knew he was going to play well at. Didn't get on there, but he was 11 to 1. We weren't going to bet that. This week, he's 50 to 1. This week, he enters the week with putting stats that are abysmal. He has got off to a very bad start on the 2024 year. Hasn't been good at all. But that's okay. We've seen this guy. He kind of comes, he goes. He's young. He's rebellious. He's rambunctious. He's boisterous. He's resilient. I don't know if I said that already. But what we do know is he's young. And he's going to be showing up, ready to rock and roll the rock, kick it in, do what he has to do. I'm not too concerned about his long-term putting outlook. He can have a few bad weeks here and just all of a sudden show up and putt fantastically well, like we can expect Tom Kim to do. We're also on power greens. Maybe all it takes is some iffy greens to get his shit together, and off we go. So if you take a look at his recent approach play, it's 11th in the field. Boom. Remember, we want good approach players this week. He's very good in that department. Oh, guess what? He's 9th in the field in strokes gained from 100 to 150. That's the range we're looking for. 22nd in good shots rates from those distances. So when it comes to Tom Kim, he can wedge it in. He's a wedgie machine. He likes to hit wedges really well. Also, what we're getting from him that we're not quite getting from Nikolai Højgaard is the strokes gained from 200 plus. It's going to be a lot of shots coming from that distance this week, and he can really dial them in. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Tom Kim knock those wedges tight. Looking forward to him being in the fairway pretty much every single darn time he plays. Like his distance off the tee that's kind of been improving, but typically lacks relative to the PGA Tour, is not going to be that big of a deal this week. I think the accuracy off the tee he possesses is completely and utterly perfect for this golf course. He's going to be hitting driver where guys have to hit 3 woods, and that's going to be totally fine because guess what? He can just knock it wherever he wants with that big stick. So totally cool with Tom Kim in that department. And then if you take a look at how he gets it done over the course of the week, you know, he's been playing some poor golf in round 1 recently, but take a look at that 11th strokes gain on a Sunday, which to me, again, another killer situation. Like he does not back down when it comes to playing good golf on the weekend when it matters most. So Tom Kim's going to be in the mix. He's going to be looking to take down another W, and I'm looking forward for him to take his first big win in a tournament where there are some big names. He's ready to be a superstar. He's just been a little inconsistent, and we're taking advantage of a nice 50 to 1 out there on Tom Kim. A 3-time winner in the last 2 years. We get 50 to 1 because of some bad putting on a course that typically would be an ideal situation for his ball striking. I mean, this could not be a better ball striking paradise for Tom Kim. So sign me the hell up on Thomas the Tank Engine in the woods. Boom, boom. First time he's playing here, I'm not too concerned. I think he's going to do just fine. All right. Scooting past Jason Day, all the way to Sahith Theegala. 27th in safety, 23rd in upside. That's okay. What we know about Sahith is he's also one of these guys. His volatility numbers are crazy. In fact, I'm actually going to take a quick tangent for y'all, take you through the back end of the model, all sorts of random stuff here. Let's go to the last 100 rounds of golf. And I'm going to find his strokes gained total. Take a look here. We're going to find Sahith Theegala, and we don't even have to go that far because Sahith, friends and family, is a really interesting cat. Take a look at what his numbers look like. We're going to highlight this so we don't lose it. If we take, so that's 20, so these are percentiles. Do a little quick math lesson for you guys, or a little number situation. Percentiles means we're taking the last 100 rounds, and the 50th percentile is his 50th best round. His 75th percentile is his 75th uppermost round. So his 25th best round. There's 24 better rounds between the 75th percentile and the 100th percentile. If you take a look at percentiles in strokes gained total, Sahith Theegala kind of finds himself in a position here where he's 13th in the field. If you take a look at the 95th percentile, he drops down a touch, but still 16th in the field. The model's not quite picking up where he's going there. But if we go to the total percentiles for the 25th percentile, we're going to sort that from largest to smallest. Check, he falls off the map. So his floor is incredibly low compared to, look at this. We are scrolling all the way down here. He's pretty much in the bottom half. He's sitting here with the casual 45th in floor for Sahith. So that's what is his issue, and that's okay. We know his DNA, and that's totally fine. So, yes, love that analysis on Theegala. That's why we like him. I think he's going to be completely okay. Betting him for an outright at 80-1 on Monday. Yeah. And you show up as soon as you're talking about Tom Kim. Why don't you like Thomas the Tank, my friend? You need to get on the Thomas the Tank train. But we like Sahith, so I'll kind of mop that cotch up there for you with old Sahith's mop, and we talk about him. Now, that's just Sahith's upside in general. Let's kind of take a peek at why he's going to be a good course fit this week. Outside of his 34th ranked strokes gained total, including in that is potentially a 40-net victory where he won in California, a second place at the Century Tournament Champions, which I know Ian in our Rotoballer PGA show that me and Spencer do every Monday night at 9:30. Be sure to tune in over there. We spoke about Sahith, and Ian mentioned in the chat that it's very similar to Kapalua. Although the driving distance isn't going to be as important, it's still going to leave these wide open fairways that have a lot of wedge-intensive approach shots. Sahith Theegala played fantastically. He lipped out on the final hole to basically get himself into a playoff with Chris Kirk at the Century Tournament Champions. So there's a lot to like about him. Take a look at his recent putting. We go into a golf course that you're going to have to hit a lot of wedges close and make a lot of putts. Sahith Theegala is the fourth best putter over the last 24 rounds. He can putt like a beast. He's also very good around the greens for when Sunday rolls around and things get really out of control. Sahith Theegala is going to be our guy. Oh, what would you know? Sahith Theegala, 7th in good shot rate from 100 to 150. That seems like a good recipe for success. Somebody that's not typically the most accurate off the tee. He's kind of rectified that recently. If you take a look at his off the tee numbers, it's actually better than his approach play, which is 24th and 41st respectively. So we know that Sahith's drive is kind of under control. We know how good he is with that driving iron. I think he's going to be completely okay off the tee, and he's fantastic from the two ranges we need him the most. 7th in good shot rate from 100 to 150. We need good shots. Make birdies. That's what we want. Oh, guess what? 9th from 200 now in good shot rate. So with a wedge, with a 3-iron, with a 5-iron, Sahith is a freak. In between, not so hot. But that's okay. The least amount of shots total are coming from that range. We're not too worried about that. He's going to have to handle that range. Those plug our nose. He's 80-1. That's okay. Then we're going to scoot on down here. Check a look at the power putting. 5 to 15 feet on power. Sahith Theegala, 2nd in the field. So he's fantastic on power. It's arguably his best surface. He grew up in California. Birdie or better rates, 11th and 14th. This guy was 80-1. 80-1. He's won on tour, finished 2nd 3 starts ago. What the hell are we doing? The round-by-round stuff, it's obviously not going to check out as hard as we would like because guess what? He's a very inconsistent golfer, but that's okay. When he finds himself in the mix, he does not back down. The guy went on a charge at Kapalua. Absolute charge. So give us 80-1. Give us a guy with top 15 spike potential. 80-1. Sahith Theegala. He's our second bet of the nasty 9. Boom, boom, chaka-laka, let's party. I wanted to bet. Now, this is a problem, friends. I wanted to bet Benny on at 70-1 Monday morning. Got distracted with some random shit and went back to bet him, and he was 45. So now I've got FOMO on Benny on. I'm going to have to make him my one and done. I'm going to have to do something because I don't like the fact that I'm not on him. And I couldn't get to him at 40 because we got 9 other outrights, and 70-1 fitted the budget. 40-1 kind of is a little too short for us in that department. Pebble Beach scoring for him, 5th in the field. So one thing I want to mention real quick about course history versus non-course history. We're going to have guys that are playing here for the first time, very good golfers. We're going to have guys that have played very well here in the past, also very good golfers, but playing against their cousins, backyard football, not the best kind of fields at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Let's be honest. No one wants to go and willingly sign up for a Pro-Am event. You know, the Amex, the Pro-Am here. You know, he's got Jordan Spieth playing with his buddy Jake Owen or whatever. Those kind of guys show up all the time. So Spieth, those kind of people, going to have good course history. Lots of people going to gravitate that in DFS. I understand. Pick your battles there. But there's guys that have easily, if they just play here regularly, can totally have had good course history, but they just don't. So bear that in mind. It's not like Augusta here, where they're constantly playing against the world's best all the time. They're playing against people that are partnered up with amateurs and guys walking all over the place, Jabroni Central. Just bear that in mind. Course history this week is not the same as a typical event because the guys that they're playing with are going to be much more difficult to beat. That being said, we got FOMO on Benny on. So we're going to have to figure out how to get involved with him at some point. Maybe bet him top 5 just as our solo one bet there. But I love Benny on. Let's talk about him real quick before we move on to our next guy. Recent form, insane. He's very good when it comes to like off the tee on these shorter courses. He typically thrives. 23rd in the field in strokes gained on shorter courses less than 7,200 yards. I think it's like a 70,040 yard course this week. He's got tons of distance, so he's going to be hitting 3 irons. We saw what he could do into the green at the Sony. He hit a 3 iron from 258 yards to 15 feet. So he's accurate with the long iron. He can hit those long irons off the tee. He does okay on the easy scoring, and he's playing some great golf right now. Take a look at his good shot rate from 200 and out, 12th in the field, and his good shot rate is 29th from 100 to 150. Not the best, but he's actually playing very good. When things get out of control, he's around the green play, one of the best in the field. He's a magician around the greens, absolute magician. And then the putter has been getting better. He hasn't really putted on POA in a hot minute. Why does this look? What is this? What is this spelling here? Looks like OA. Let's figure this out here real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, come on, POA. Show up for me. There we go. All right, so Benny on. We like him on this kind of a golf course. We like his recent surge in putting stats. If you take a look at his POA stats, they're not going to be that good because it's been a hot minute since he's been there. But his recent putting is 31st in the field. This is a signature event. We've got most of the world's best golfers in the field. We're going to see what he can get up to. Particularly in round 1 and round 2, he tends to do his best stuff. But also, remember, this guy's playing much better golf right now. Tons and tons of birdies. He does that deliciously and delightfully well. So we'll be playing him in DFS potentially a lot more than we should because we missed the outright situation. So maybe that's how we get exposure to Benny on, who will be quite popular at $8,000 if I have that understood correctly. Our next and third person of the Nasty 9, episode 84, brought to you by Rotorball.com. Use code Maniac for 10% off. What isn't 10% off is Adam Scott's top 10 rate. He's sitting 38% of the time inside the top 10 once Sunday commences. If we filter that by everybody in the field, it's a pretty elite rate. This guy's like sitting inside the top 10, the 5th most out of everybody playing this week. Adam Scott's a beast when it comes to top 10 upside. I believe if we go and take a look like at his top 40 rate, it's not nearly as good as what you would imagine his top 10 rate to be. Like it being almost, it's double. It's literally almost double his top 10 rate, which isn't a very good progressive situation. You want it to be way more than that. But that's okay. We want to bet on a guy for the outright that has this kind of profile. His top 40 rate's pretty solid, but if we filter it by top 40 rates, 74th is a little further down the board, so it's not quite as elite as we'd expect. And I think that's what we like about Adam this week. He's got upside to the tees. And what Adam Scott does very well is hit himself a golf ball around a golf course. 10th and 9th off the tee and on approach over the last 24 rounds. That looks very good. And his putting is 5th. So some solid stuff. And now the thing is, there's a bit of skepticism around the greens. I understand. He's 66th of the last 24 rounds around the greens. That's fine. What you want to remember is with these greens being as soft as they are, with these conditions being as placid as, is placid even a word? Flaccid's a word, but placid, calm, whatever. Lake Placid, Adam Scott, it is what it is. But when these conditions are like this, they're going to be hitting way more greens than normal anyway. If you take a look at the key stat here, the greening regulation rates at this venue are roughly 69%, 68% in 2022, 2021. We've seen some good greening regulation rates. So when it's this soft, when it's this scoreable, we can see a lot more shots staying on the green or potentially spinning off the front. It is what it is. But for the most part, softer golf courses mean more greening regulations. It's just that simple. Pros love good, soft golf courses. That means he's around the green play can be a little more sacrificial. We don't have to worry about that much. And he's typically played, look at Pebble Beach scoring for Adam Scott, 4th in the field. Now, I know we just preached about not leaning too hard into that kind of stuff. This is outright. It's us versus the book. It's not DFS. It's us versus the book. And I think when we look at that, that just screams yes, yes, yes. And why? It's because he's the 16th best good shot maker from 100 to 150. So he's hitting it close. And then the long irons are pretty darn good too. 33rd, inside the top half of the field from that department. Also, Adam Scott was, I think, 80 to 1. We got him at 80 to 1 for our betting card here. So it was 80 to 1 for Adam Scott. So that's where we're rolling with Adam Scott. That was a delightful number. We got one of the better wedge players in the field. We got one of the better guys in the ball striking recent form department, playing on a course that he thrives at around Pebble Beach, 4th in the field there. Spyglass is going to be rough. He's going to have to survive that. We'll see what he can do. But I'm not too concerned about Adam Scott this week. In fact, I really like him. He is the thumbnail of this week. Oh, guess what? Putting on power, he loves that. 5th in the field. I said, oh, guess what, quite a few times. We'll stop with that nonsense. It's kind of irritating myself. But guess what? We're going to say it one more time. 5th and 8th on power putting from 5 to 15 feet. And in general, that's delightful. Birdie making ability. Adam Scott is 6th and 7th, long-term and in general. So you've got lots to go off of there. Love Adam Scott's birdie making ability. Love what he can get up to on a Sunday. We'll have to survive the Saturday. It's not looking like it's the best stuff in that department, but it is what it is. I like Adam. Check the easy scoring conditions. 11th in the field. He loves that. So the first 3 days are going to be pretty easy scoring conditions, in my opinion, if the wind kind of stays the way it does for the next little while. If it stays subdued, if the course stays wet, it's going to be easy till Sunday. I don't even know if they're going to play on Sunday. Potentially they play 36 on Saturday. Potentially they wrap it up on Monday. God, please help us if it does on Monday, because from a content perspective, that's a goddamn nightmare. That is what it is. Lots of upside, lots of Adam Scott. Let's rock and roll. Boom chakalaka. We are in business. Next on the scarb, whatever that word is, Sam Burns. Sam Burns, 40 to 1. Sam Burns wins the Amex if he doesn't go double, triple whopper, Burger King wannabe. Hit his ball in the water twice. On the final 2 holes to give Nick Dunlap his PGA Tour card. So the world works in wonderful ways, friends. Thanks, Lauderdale Al. We appreciate that. Awesome data. It's here every Monday, every Tuesday night, 7 Eastern, right here on Back Nine Bets. You are more than welcome, my friend. Thank you. Sam Burns, 40 to 1. What do we like about Sam? Well, he just finished 2nd or 3rd or whatever he did at the Amex. Was looking good. What can we take away from the Amex? The fact that it's a very similar kind of a golf course where you got to make tons of birdies, where you got to hit lots of good putts, where you got to hit lots of good irons from 100 to 150 into those greens. Oh, guess what, Adam? I got to stop saying that. Sam Burns tied a course record around one of those venues, so he can go low if he has to. I'm totally cool with that. His driving is potentially one of the worst problems of his game, usually. 35th in the field in baseline and 16th right now, so that's looking a bit better. The approach play looking disgusting. But he hit a few water balls, blah, 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 all that jazz. We'll see what cooks. But what we do know from a baseline perspective, Sam Burns is really, really good with the wedge in his hand, or at least at hitting good shots. 14th in the field from 100 to 150 for Sam Burns in that department. hitting good shots. He's 43rd in strokes gained, okay. But the good shot rate is what we're looking for. We want tons and tons of darts, throw daggers at the flags. That's what we can hope for from Sam Burns. And then he's a really good putter, but not typically on POA. Kind of regresses a little bit in that department. We're going to take a gamble at 40-1. I like that number. It was too big of a number for Sam Burns to kind of leave him in that department. The birdie or better rates are a little concerning over the last little while, but we're really taking a stab at the fact that he's kind of shown some recent form. That's the thing. Sam Burns he's got his stuff together over the last little while. We're kind of looking to go that department. If he can keep it together on the greens, we're going to be looking good. Love the wedge play. Love his recent form. Love what he can get up to this week. Next up of the nasty nine, I believe it's guy number 5. Come on up, Tom Hoge, 2021 or 2022 winner of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, defeating Jordan Spieth, playing Spyglass, the 7th best out of everybody in the field, Pebble Beach, the 22nd out of everybody in the field, the 5th best approach player of the last 24 rounds, $6,700, 120-1 to win an outright. Tom Mother effing Hoge. The Craps McGee, his around the green play is terrible. His approach play is amazing. His off the tee numbers are terrible. But that's okay. Off the tee, we've seen what Tom Hoge can get up to here. He's totally fine. Ball striking kind of bounces back because of his 5th ranked recent approach play. We'll move on over to what we really like about Tom Hoge. And I'm going to go back to the key stats real quick because that's kind of what we want to make sure. I'm going to hide this real quick and then find ourselves. Want to make sure you guys realize this. So 35% of shots come from 100 to 150. And then we've got ourselves a casual 30% of shots that come from 200 and out. Okay. Take a quick peek at Tom Hoge's situation here from 200 and out. The 3rd best in the field in hitting good shots from that rate. Now, I can't quite remember exactly what the exact number is for data golf for that situation, but I'm going to put it up for you real quick and tell you exactly how many feet a good shot is from 200 plus. On average, a good shot for somebody out of the fairway is 14.3 feet. So that's what we're going to be looking for. Tom Hoge from 200 and out, 14.3 feet. Quite often, he does it with regularity. Very well. He's also not the worst when it comes to wedge play or anywhere in between. Like, he's totally fine in those departments. If you think about when he won at Pebble, he was just knocking wedges after wedges stiff, like 2 feet away, 1 foot away. Like, guy can hole out at any given moment. I'm all about Tom Hoge's upside on the approach side of things. He's pretty darn good at making putts from outside of 15 feet, which I'm not necessarily that thrilled about, considering he's going to be hitting them inside of that all the time. But that is what it is. Neither here nor there. He typically putts better on POA. He's the 35th best increase from POA to baseline. This is POA. This is not Bermuda. We need to change this stuff so that you don't get confused. But we're looking at a guy who can absolutely dial it in on POA greens compared to his typical baseline. So sign us up for Tom Hoge on the greens. Sign us up for his birdie rate ability of 22nd in the field. We've got a lot to like about Tom Hoge. Recent performances aren't very good. The round-by-round stuff's not going to check out, but he's 120-1. There's other reasons we like him. His price is affordable to kind of look away at that department. We know we can win a tournament if we name Tom Hoge quite easily, especially at a venue called Pebble Beach. If his ownership's looking appealing, I'll be down to frown with Tom Hoge. Adam Svensson, we had him for a top 40 and a matchup against Emiliano Grillo last week. Missed the cut in epic fashion, making double bogeys on par 5s, just doing stuff that he never, ever does. The guy was balling out, and then we place 25% of our betting allotment on him, and he lets us down completely. We will go next to Nick Taylor. He's our guy. If he can't do it, the other 8 will have to. Guess what? Nick Taylor. He's won this tournament before. Nick Taylor got great course history here. Nick Taylor, solid on the putting surface. Nick Taylor, very good on strokes gained from 100 to 150. Not necessarily the best at hitting it tight, but that's okay. He's pretty good at knocking it close from 100 to 150 to 200, which we'll take. So if he can just gain a lot of strokes from 100 to 150, we'll knock him close from 150 to 200. I guess it's probably going to be the same situation in distance because of the distance you weigh from the hole. But it is what it is. Nick Taylor's ultimate strength, I guess, is coming out of the rough a little bit to some degree, but that's not going to be that important this week. But what we do know is his putting gets better on these power greens. 15th in the field in from 5 to 15 feet and 19th over the last 50 rounds on all power surfaces. Nick Taylor is going to be doing his thing. Hopefully he can take care of business for us. Hopefully Nick Taylor can win this tournament again. He was 125 to 1, and we got that with a little each way, so he's 25 to 1 for a top 6. So that's nice. We like that a lot. Nick Taylor, friends. Little quick, easy, fast-hitting situation there. Scooting on down. I'm actually going to talk about Christian Bezuidenhout before I get to my other guy, because the other guy is 400 to 1. Seabears. If you think about someone that can suit this golf course, Seabears can. 26th in the field in course history, yeah, that's okay on Pebble. His approach play over the last little while has been pretty darn good. Let us down a little bit on the North course at Torrey. Went out and parred 9 straight holes. I had him in showdown. Quite a lot of lineups in showdown in round 2, and he goes and makes 9 straight pars, and then goes psycho and makes birdie, birdie, bogey, bogey, birdie, bogey. I think he shot like 1 under after opening with 9 straight pars. So hopefully he can figure that out. Hopefully he enjoyed some time off with the baby and the missus. But we can expect, friends, off the tee, not that big of a deal for Christian Bezuidenhout. He's totally okay when it comes to coming off the tee here. He's going to be fine because his accuracy is one of the better in the field at this venue. That suits his game perfectly. When it comes to short game, he's very deft. He's deft on power. Typically putts better on power than he does elsewhere. His putting has got a little south, but he putted pretty nicely at the Amex. Hopefully he can take care of business on the greens again here like he did when he played here last time. He's a very good long iron player for his price tag. He was 120 to 1. So he's 33rd in good shot rate from 200 and out. He's also 30th in strokes gained from 100 to 150. 47th in good shot rate, whatever. But he's a very conservative golfer. And I think he's kind of like a Matthew Fitzpatrick situation, because I'm out on Matty Fitz this week, just by the way. But what happens with these guys and what we see from like Harbour Town, Fitz, his proximity numbers with the wedge are atrocious. Look here. Matthew Fitzpatrick, good shots and strokes gained from 100 to 150, disgustingly bad over the last 12 months. But the smaller you make the greens, the smaller you make the target to aim at, the more the mind recalibrates its stuff, and the conservative approach play disappears because you have to hit it closer just because the green's that much smaller. So potentially we find guys with proximity numbers that are iffy getting better on these smaller greens. So we'll see what happens. And yes, Lauderdale, I agree with you. He usually fades towards the end, but the way he played at the Amex had me feeling otherwise. He made a charge up the leaderboard, and that final putt that he made on the 18th hole just shows me that he's feeling a lot more comfortable on the PGA Tour now. He's won multiple times back home in SA. Shout out to my alma mater country, my native land. But it showed that he can make some putts under pressure. He did not know that Nick Dunlap was going to make par on that final hole. If he made bogey, that 7-footer that Bezzy made, that 9-footer on the final hole for birdie, that birdie would have got him into a playoff if Dunlap never got up and down and played out of his mind. Just putting it out there. So he typically does, and the numbers agree with you. I'm not going to pretend like that isn't the case, but recently we're going to dive in on a bit of Bezzy. You know, he gets off to a bit of a hot start every now and then, either in round 1, round 2, and then he kind of fizzles away either side, and then kind of when he makes the weekend, plays well. Ish. So I think it'll be okay. I like his chances. I like what he can do when it comes to, I think he's getting more comfortable. He's got that nappy swag. He's just had a baby. Congrats to him and his wife. Looking forward to him being a dad on the golf course now. Let's make some other kids make some other adults his kids this week. Some seriously good golfers are going to get dominated by my boy. Let's get back to our guy we were talking about. Were we talking about Bezzy? Yes, we were. We were talking about Bezzy. We've spoken about Nick Taylor, Bezzy, Tom Hoagie, Sam Burns, Adam Scott, Sahith Theegala, Tom Kim, Nikolai Højgaard. We've got one more, and his name is Samuel Ryder. The Ryder Dider. Wherever his name is, I saw it up here. Boom chakalaka. FanDuel had Sam Ryder at 400 to 1 to win this golf tournament. I don't think he's won on the PGA Tour in a while. I don't think he ever has. I'm not entirely sure. But he's flirted with contention in the past. He plays well on the West Coast. He played pretty nicely at the Farmers. Remember when he almost won that tournament until their mom got on the television, jinxed his ass. 400 to 1 for a guy. If we take a look at his baseline stuff, the recent stuff hasn't been that hot. His approach play doesn't make any sense. Like, the guy's been absolutely dialed in on approach for what it feels like since the fall swing. But if we move over here, take a look at these shorter irons for Sam Ryder. The good shot rate from 100 to 150, 12th in the field. The good shot rate from 150 to 200, 6th in the field. Strokes gained from 100 to 150, 23rd. Strokes gained from 150 to 200, 9th. So we got like a full 100-yard range worth of shots, which is roughly about 2/3 of the shots, where his worst metric is 23rd in the field. The others are like 12th or better. So he's a very good iron player. He can hit him tight, can knock him stiff, and go from there. He's also very capable of making putts on these power greens. We saw him what he could do at the Farmers. We saw that. He can putt lights out. He's been all over the place. He's typically a very good putter. Baseline putting is 10th. The power putting is 40th in the field. It is what it is. Birdie or better rates. The guy can go low. 10th in the field in baseline birdie rates. 12th in the field over the last 24 rounds. We love to see that from Sam. Round 4 tends to get the better of him every now and then. It is what it is. But we're looking for an upside on a guy at $6,000 in DraftKings, 400 to 1 to win this golf tournament. And we got iron play that's very impressive across the board here. Very, very impressive across the board. Very impressive across the board for Sam Ryder. So I love what he can get up to. I love his outlook. I love Sam Ryder's ability to knock things very close. And we've seen this guy. So Sam Ryder's a man of many traits. He's like the faceless man of the PGA Tour. He can take any shape or any form at any given part of the season. To start 2023 off, Sam Ryder led the PGA Tour in putting, in strokes gained putting, for like the first 6 months of the tour. Then he completely forgot how to putt, and towards the end of the season became one of the best iron players in the world. There's a period in time where over 16 rounds of golf, the only person in the world that had gained more strokes over their last 16 rounds of golf on approach was Victor Hovland. Sam Ryder was second to Victor Hovland in strokes gained approach over a 16-week period. So this guy has got immense talent. He's got capabilities that are through the roof. I think if we went to the last 100 rounds and did a Sam Ryder take here, shall we? Let's figure it out for Sam Ryder here. I'm not even maybe we can even just see him if we do the top percentiles here. Does Sam Ryder show up anywhere close? Sam Burns does. Sam Ryder, not so hot. He's all the way down here. Let's do a top 75 and see if he shows up at all. Sam Ryder. No, not really. Okay, so it is what it is. The last 100 rounds haven't been the best for him, but we're kind of taking a gamble at 400 to 1 to win this tournament. That's Sam Ryder's situation. So we'll see what he can get up to. I'm a big fan of him. I've always liked to bet the guy. He cashed us a plus 400 for a top 20 at the RSM Classic. So shout out to Sam Ryder for that. We could have really used that in the last little while. Phoebe's barking. Usually when she does, things don't quite go well for the guy that we're barking at, but it is what it is. Let's take a look now quickly to wrap this up. I'm going to do like a quick fast-hitting situation. I believe I'll be doing a BetSperts DFS show tomorrow with Ron Klaas on BetSperts Golf. So join us over there. We'll do all the DFS takes in the world there for you guys. But until then, I'm just going to knock out like 5 minutes here quickly of like some some guys I'm a big fan of going into the week. Justin Thomas. If we like Justin Thomas's recent form at $9,600, give it to me. The guy's incredible in strokes gained from 100 to 150. He's also very, very good at hitting good shots from 150 to 200, and the long irons have been a little iffy. But when you take a look at what Justin Thomas gets up to, this has been a very bad last period of time. These numbers over here in the purple are from 2023, the beginning of 2023, or at least the last 12 months, whichever one I'm pulling in here. But it's basically the same thing. Justin Thomas has played some very bad golf for an extended period of time. He started getting a lot better towards the last few rounds. If you take a look at his recent form, last 24 rounds, 9th in the field. The round the green play, very, very good. So on Sunday, if the wind's blowing and these guys are playing in there, Justin Thomas, in my opinion, is one of the best wind players in the world. He's in a league above his own. Think back to the players. Think back to just multiple instances where the wind has blown. Justin Thomas rides up that leaderboard. I'm hoping I can maybe, since I missed out on Benny on, if JT kind of slides down the board and enters round 4 a little down the leaderboard in a position where he's like potentially 50 or 70 to 1, going into some serious weather, I'll pull the trigger on him. I'm not scared to do that for him. He's a very good iron player, and hopefully I reached out to the people at Data Golf. Hopefully they can give us like a recent split for these kind of good shots that I can see what he's been doing the last 3 months, 6 months or so, and really kind of dissect the improvement he's made in his game. When you take a look at Justin Thomas's putting, it's typically atrocious, but on POA greens, he's 35th in the field. So he putts a lot better on these POA surfaces. Really like Justin Thomas's ability there. He's the 5th best improver from POA to baseline to POA. So love that about JT. The birdie or better rates typically are good for Justin Thomas when he's playing his best golf. The last 24 rounds are 31st in the field. It is what it is. But yeah, if you see JT here, look, 63rd and 43rd in strokes gained. He just gets off to a bit of a slow start, so that's the problem. Also, that could be, when you're looking at these kind of metrics, the fact that he missed a few cuts, played some bad golf, that could mean that his bad golf is only in round 1 and round 2. And then when he makes the weekend, he's playing very good golf as well, right? So that means that it doesn't necessarily mean that he plays better golf on a Saturday, Sunday. It just means that when he's playing on Saturday or Sunday, he's playing better golf. I think that's one of the instances here that's applicable. Stats need to be contextualized. So here to help you with that. Max Homa is someone I'm going to be fading. Makes tons of birdies. He's going to be very popular playing in California. But if you take a look at what Max has been up to over the last little while, the putting hasn't necessarily been there. Max Homa is one of the best putters in the field. 11th in the field in putting in general and 7th on POA surfaces. Max Homa is from California. He's very good on those courses, but he's played well in the past. But if you take a look at what Max Homa's situation is, he doesn't hit a lot of good wedge shots. He gains 21st most amount of strokes, but he's 58th in good shot rate from 100 to 150, which is a problem. And then from 200 and out, he's 49th. Like he's fighting the demons. He spoke on No Laying Up's podcast today and said that he's kind of discovered that his body can't get to certain positions that he wants to be in because his just body cannot do it. And I think he's kind of battling with that. He's also hitting a draw nowadays versus the patented Max Homa fade. When he won at Torrey Pines, he gained the most strokes he's ever gained on approach, which totaled his 10th and 11th best strokes gained on approach combined. The 10th and 11th best round he's had on approach, like tournament on approach, Max Homa gained double the total of those two tournaments he gained in one single week at the Farmers when he won, hitting that patented cut. He hit that cut to the back left flag on that par 3, I think it's hole 16. Hit just a beast of a cut in there. Back left, cut. It's fine. Now he's hitting a draw. It's not his thing. He needs to go back to the cut. So the iron play is here and there. 22nd in the field in iron play. Not necessarily the best. But putter is the biggest concern for me. And he's going to be very popular. So him and Jordan Spieth both. Jordan Spieth's ball striking the last little while, I'm out on him as well. The course history is going to be very good. Guess what? Take a look at all these boxes here where there's a white box next to the spyglass situation. No, Max is always, I think he commented after he won at the Farmers that his caddy only gives him 5 draws per tournament or something. I'll have to go and investigate, but we got to figure it out, Darby. I think he's hitting a draw now. He's always been a patented fader of the golf ball, I believe. But what I wanted to get at about this course history, when there's only a Pebble box, it means that they played in the US Open in 2019. Where there's a white box in Spyglass, it means that that's the situation. Where there's two boxes, it means they've just never played here before, two whites. So we've got at 11-4, Scotty Scheffler. Hasn't played this golf course often. He played here in 2019. He was not the world number one back then. So course history is not going to look the best for Scotty Scheffler. He wasn't the same guy. So that's one person that's easily better golfer than Jordan Spieth. Then you've got Xander Schauffele, who's never played here before, outside of the 2019 US Open. Justin Thomas, same situation. Colin Morikawa, Ludwig Aubert, Cameron Young. We're not going to call him one of the better golfers in the world, but Nicolai Højgaard, he went and shot one of the best rounds on the South course, playing it blind. He bird boxed that son of a bitch. Completely played that course blind. Only had played 9 holes of practice golf on the North course. Went and played the South course. Why wouldn't you play the South course for 9 holes? Goes and plays the North course. When he plays in normal golf conditions for the tournament, shoots one of the best rounds of the day on the South, playing it completely blind. So course history for me, for Nicolai Højgaard, not a concern. Tom Kim, same situation. He should fit this course to a T. Keegan Bradley at any given moment can win a golf tournament. So we've got all these guys that don't typically have very good course history that can really toss themselves up the top of the leaderboard there. Any given moment. These are very good golfers. The golf course is going to be very soft. We saw what happened at Torrey with a soft course. The nuances of the greens don't quite come into play as much because the ball's landing and stopping. When balls land and have to roll out, then you have to know the contours of a green, where to land it, where the magic spots are to kind of avoid putting yourself in a black ball situation on the green. So just putting that out there, these conditions are going to be target simulation golf. In my opinion, that suits someone like Colin Morikawa very, very well. We know Colin can putt very well on these POA greens typically. We've seen Colin 52nd in putting over the last 24 rounds. But if we go over to POA surfaces, he's 37th. He's the 20th best gainer when he goes from baseline to POA putting. So that's nice to see. Justin Thomas, like we mentioned, is the 5th best. So lots to like from those two guys. They're going to be my guys in the 9K range. I did the fortune cookie filter on my Stat Buffet article. Guess who was one of the 3 people to gain above average strokes in easy scoring conditions, in good shot rates, weighted. Scotty Scheffler hits a ton of good shots on a weighted basis. Around the green, Scotty Scheffler is the 4th best golfer in the field. When it comes to POA putting, he's 42nd from 5 to 15 feet. So I use 5 to 15 instead of all POA strokes gained because 5 to 15 feet is the most reliable metric of the putting situations. He's 42nd in a field of 80. I'll take that with Scotty Scheffler. I will take that with Scotty Scheffler. If you take a look at what he gets up to from 5 to 15 usually, there's about 90 names in my database right now, and he's 89th. So not very good. But on POA, it's typically a bit better. So sign us up for Scotty on POA. And then the birdie rates are elite. The bogey avoidance rates are critically elite, like redlining the crap out of that. Beautiful stuff. The last little while been a bit of a rough situation, but the par 5 scoring for Scotty is amazing. The round by round stuff, only round 3. That's the time you want to target and leave Scotty out of your lineups in Showdown. Every other time, he's the best in the field in scoring. So round 3 for Scotty, not the best, but every other time, he's number 1. Cool. So Scotty Scheffler, we love. Absolutely love Scotty Scheffler for our situation. Even though we struggle to win money when we bet him, but the pricing this week is so affordable that an $11,400 Scotty Scheffler is very, very capable of being in any sort of lineup. Because there's like Sam Ryder immediately turns that combination into $17,400, which is what? $8,700 per person. So if my math is correct. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at there for Scotty Scheffler. Victor Hovland, if you take a look at Hovland's wedge range, he's one of the best iron players in the world, Victor Hovland. Over the last little while, he's 10th in the field. It's kind of gone backwards a bit since the break. He got hot, ended hot, but it's one of his worst ranges. His good shot rate and strokes gained from 100 to 150 are 41st and 39th. Victor's not the best when it comes to wedges. He's very good from 150 to 200 in a strokes gain department, And what I think is an interesting aspect of this golf course is about 70% of the time, people are going to be hitting from the fairway. Victor Hovland separates himself on these courses with lush green grass around the fairways. He's second in the field in strokes gained from 150 and out of the rough. So that's what you want to target for Victor when it comes to golf courses that have long irons out of hard to hit fairways with thick rough. That's where he thrives. If you take a look, he's 80th in the field in strokes gained from inside 150 out of the rough. Not a very good wedge play out of the, like his wedges in general are just lacking. So I don't know if I'm a big fan of him at this golf course. The course history is going to tell you he's the 11th best at Pebble Beach. But also, he played here last year where Brandon Wu finished second. I know Brandon Wu's playing again this year, but I don't see Brandon Wu finishing second this year unless I'm horribly, horribly bad at predicting how the golf is going to go this week. Granted, we've had multiple triple-digit people start the year winning these tournaments, so what the hell do we know? But that's why I'm fading Victor. Love Jason Thomas, love Colin Morikawa, love Sam Burns. Ludwig Aubert is the same situation. Apparently over there in Denmark, they don't do, or Sweden, or wherever the frickin' hell he's from, they don't do wedges. Look at this. Good shot rate from 200 and out, fourth in the field. He's disgustingly bad with a wedge in his hand from what we've seen from Ludwig. So I don't know how he's done so well on these birdie fests, but it just must be because he's hitting so much closer than everybody else. His wedges can still stick with everybody's mid-irons. But again, he's out of the rough situation. He's very, very strong from 150 and out of the rough. Not going to be the case this week. Everyone's going to be from the fairway. We'll see. The putting for him, it is what it is, all that jazz. So that's the reason why we're fading Ludwig at 9,000. He's looking like a very interesting first-round fantasy draft bust, in my opinion. We'll see. He's kind of hasn't quite showed up to the party, and I think out of all places to have shone was at the Farmers last week, and he kind of finished 10th. So that was good. But I don't think he likes Hawaii golf whatsoever. Tommy Fleetwood, also, if you take a look at long-term metrics, strokes gained from 100 to 150, 69th in the field, good shot rate, 43rd. Not a very good wedge player. This is why when he gets to these low-scoring events, easy scoring for Tommy, 84th in the field. He's basically a Shane Lowry. He's basically worse than a Hideki and Matthew Fitzpatrick. So I'm out on those three guys. Their scoring metrics on easy courses are not very good. Same goes with Cameron Young lately. He can't make enough putts anymore to do those kind of things, despite having pretty darn good ball striking numbers inside of 200 and beyond. So fun stuff there. But another guy I want to mention before we get out of here, Tony Finau at $8,800. I understand the putting situation. I understand all of that. Putting can come and go. It's like a gas station here in Iowa, right? Look at this stuff from 200 and out. Strokes gained from 200 and out. Tony Finau, third in the field. Good shot rate from 200 and out. Inside 14 feet. Tony Finau, fifth in the field. When you take a look at good shot rates, which is 6 feet from 100 to 150, 11th in the field. Strokes gained from 150 to 200, 10th in the field. The good shot rate there, a little off at 40. But in general, he's an incredibly good iron player. People are going to be saying, yes, Tony Finau is one of his leading strengths is off the tee. It's not really. He's just got tons of length. People think that he's good off the tee because he can hit it a million miles now. The guy's got like the ability to swing into the 190s on a golf course. That's going to be fun. That's going to be lots and lots of fun to watch Tony Finau hit monstrous drives. Once he figures out his spin situation, because he was hitting at like 185 ball speed and still getting caught by guys hitting 175, 178. So he needs to figure out his spin rates. He's unleashed his driver. He might need to get a different situation, different setup. My personal opinion in that department. But what we do know is his swing speed is unparalleled, I guess, in this field outside of Rory and Colin. Cameron Young. But Tony Finau, last 24 rounds on approach, fourth in the field. Around the green, very good. Love what he can do there. Easy scoring conditions, he's typically okay. The putter has looked very bad, but it's because his irons are giving him so many makeable birdie putts. That's the thing. He only lost 1.5 strokes putting last week. He can make the long ones. It's the short ones he has a bit of an issue with. So we'll see what he can get up to. I love him as a DFS prospect. Jason Day is a full fade until further notice, even with that good course history. Look at this. The recent form is 58th, but that course history is going to get a lot of ownership on Jay Day. I'm fine fading him. Loving all my outrights, basically, to play those guys in DFS 2. Russell Henley's one of the. Another thing I added to my stat buffet over at rotoballer.com, use code Maniac 10% off. Russell Henley, he is the number one earner for top 20 bets. Nobody you could have bet on that is playing in this event this week would have earned you more money in the top 20 market than Russell Henley over the last 12 months. So if there is a top 20 bet to be made, Russell Henley should be on the card. So that's the situation we're talking about here, friends. Some more DFS stuff coming up tomorrow. Now, an hour into the show, going to wrap this up here shortly, but I want to speak to you about some stuff that happened to me today. Found out that I was nominated for the FSWA Fantasy Sports Writer of the Year now for golf for the second year in a row. And then I was also nominated for the research article category, which is with Scott Barrett, Nick Polak, all people that I listen to watch football and baseball. Some immensely popular and impressive names in the industry. So for me, it's been like a humbling experience today, getting nominated alongside those guys for my Ryder Cup article that I put out there. That I don't know if you guys, if you watch this show, you most likely have seen that article out there, but I'll be retweeting that this later tonight. But that article took me 70 hours to put together, maybe even more, because I had to build a model for it. I had to go hole by hole in order to put that together. I poured my blood, sweat, and tears into that bad boy, and it paid off. Like I'm kind of a little bit emotional about it because I've never, ever worked this hard to ever get rewarded for stuff like this. I've never had the passion or the drive to really dedicate myself to something in life outside of what I've got into with golf. And I want to just make this a message to you that if there's anything in your life that you are so passionate about, find a way to turn that into a hobby and turn the hobby into a part-time gig, to turn the part-time gig potentially into a full-time thing. Because I've never, ever been this passionate and this driven and this happy in life since doing golf and golf betting and golf content. I work a full-time position in the accounting world. I hate it. I hate it, but I do it because it pays the bills. One day when I'm full-time with golf, I can't wait to quit that job. But I do it because it is what it is. I've never been more passionate. I've never been more driven to succeed in anything than golf. So my just little message is find something like that in your life. Start small. Make it a hobby. Make it an important part of your life, though. Make it a small but very essential part of your life and become as passionate and driven as you can possibly be to do well in that part of your world. And then if it's meant to be, step by step, go on from there. Make it a part-time thing. Find a way to make a little bit of money off of it. Find a way to become part of a company that offers that as a service, to start your own thing. I've never been the best at starting my own stuff. That's why I went to like Rotoballer. Figure out which avenue you need to do. Find a way to make what you love in your life a massive part of it and a daily occurrence. That's what I'm trying to do. Haven't got there yet, but today was a very great step in recognizing that the work I'm doing is appreciated and it's good and it's worth it. Because the amount of money I made off of 70, 80 hours of preparing that article was what I make per article. So not a lot. It's basically cents at the end of the day if you turn that into a per hour situation. But the recognition at the end came through. Thank God. Took a bit of luck because that stuff is a complete, there's so many submissions that go through there. So I was just very lucky to be nominated. And I just wanted to share my passion, my journey with you. And hopefully my success, the small little bit that I've had in this industry so far, can be passed on to you if you are just sitting on your couch somewhere and just kind of not quite sure where your life's going. Just going with the hum of the mill of the road, 9 to 5, go in, go out. I've been there. I am doing it still now, but on the other side of those 9 to 5s, I'm loving my golf world. So just want to just put that out there. Got a little goosey just speaking about it. Go take the day. Go seize the moment. Carpe diem, and just do it. So yes. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that message in the chat there. Hope it changes somebody else's life because I just want to say thank you to Spencer Aguiar, Joe Nicely at rotoballer.com. They gave me the opportunity to do this stuff for Rotoballer. They were instrumental in me joining that team. They've supported me through every single thing I've done. They've been behind me. They've had my back. They are incredible riders too. I'm shocked that they're not in the finalist nominations either, but just wanted to say thank you to those two guys in particular and the people at Rotoballer, Alex and Leo, for having me on their squad. So to all of you, thank you also. You know, like without having readers and viewers of the show, there's no articles to write and there's no many bits of fame to enjoy. So I thank you too for all the stuff and the views and the clicks and all that stuff that you guys provide us as content creators here in the golf world. And hopefully the golf world can remedy itself soon so we can be writing about the very best all playing at Pebble Beach in 2025. So till then, I will be on with Scott Holdridge tomorrow, having a bit more of a relaxed show, talking about some DFS stuff, hanging out with him, chatting about some stuff, and we're going to be doing some Family Guy hacking it in Hollywood comparisons. So it's going to be lots of fun chatting with Scotty. He's my main man. So that show's moved to Wednesday nights. We do the PGA show on Mondays at 9:30 Eastern. So awesome stuff, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a safe and wonderful rest of your week. We'll catch you tomorrow. And till then, be the nasty 9 in the winner's circle.